I'm sure we've all been there before. You're tossing and turning all night long, either unable to fall asleep or unable to stay asleep. And the next day you're a total train wreck. Did you know that deliberate sleep deprivation has actually been used for centuries as a form of torture or a means for interrogation? Not getting a good night's sleep is truly the worst, and this is largely to do with the major negative impacts that sleep deprivation has on the nervous system and overall well-being. If you'd like to keep receiving weekly content, don't forget to like and subscribe. We're so close to 700 subscribers. I'm Jiordana, your holistic nutritionist, and you're watching the N-Health channel to learn how to nourish your body, your mind, and your soul. Researchers have been asking for centuries, why do we sleep? For as long as the Earth has existed, there are specific cycles that regulate our waking and sleeping hours. The sun rises and most species on Earth wake up, and the sun sets where most species go to sleep, unless of course they are nocturnal. The reason for these cycles are not 100% proven. However, it likely has something to do with adapting to natural circadian rhythms as the Earth spins around the sun. In human beings, we regulate our circadian rhythm by detecting certain spectrums of light through the retinal ganglial cells that live in our eyes. When we detect morning light as the sun is rising, it stimulates the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which lives in the hypothalamus of the brain, and sets our internal clocks to wake up our organs. The same thing happens when we detect evening light. It sends a signal to our organs to start to prepare for sleep. So why is sleep so important? There have been many studies done on the therapeutic benefits that sleep has on an individual, and the importance of sleep is just not yet verified, but it seems to have a restorative quality. Individuals with sleep disorders are at a much higher risk for developing many chronic conditions, including diabetes, cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, obesity, and asthma. We know that sleep deprivation has massive implications for the efficacy of the nervous system, resulting in a measurable decrease of reaction time, memory, and cognitive ability. Because of this, sleep deprivation can be the motivating factor behind fatal accidents, car crashes, and in extreme cases can lead to hallucinations and mood disorders. There are 4 stages of sleep in which we travel through in 90-minute cycles each night, and each cycle is related to specific brain waves and neuronal activity. Now, there are 2 basic types of sleep. There's REM sleep and non-REM sleep. And as we progress through the night, the non-REM sleep portion becomes smaller and the REM sleep portion becomes larger as we head towards the morning. Stage 1 is when we're just falling asleep, and this is considered a non-REM sleep stage. You may actually experience something called the hypnic jerk, which essentially is occasional twitching which may wake you up as you're trying to fall asleep. Stage 2 is considered light sleep, and this is also a non-REM sleep. In light sleep, the heart begins to slow down and the body temperature decreases. Stage 3 is also a non-REM sleep, and this is considered our deep sleep. It's very hard to wake up from this sleep, and it is most prevalent in the very beginning of the evening. Finally, we reach REM sleep. REM sleep stands for rapid eye movement because although we are asleep, brainwave activity looks similar to that of being awake, and the eyes are moving rapidly. Arm and leg muscles are paralyzed, which is very important, or we would physically act out our dreams. REM sleep is where most of the dreaming and memory consolidation happens. Now that we understand how sleep works, let's talk about some sleep disorders. So about 30% of Canadian adults suffer from a sleep condition. The most common sleep conditions are insomnia, sleep apnea, narcolepsy, and restless leg syndrome. In most cases, sleep disorders are comorbid with anxiety disorders, and it ends up acting like a catch-22. You can't fall asleep because you're stressed out or anxious, but then the next day you're sleep deprived, which makes you more stressed out and anxious. Additionally, there's a connection between sleep disorders and depression, specifically with the relationship that depression has on serotonin levels. So serotonin is our happy hormone, and individuals with depression typically have lower levels of serotonin. So much so that they might even be prescribed an SSRI to help stabilize serotonin levels and reduce negative side effects of depression. Serotonin is the daytime version of melatonin, which we all know as our super powerful sleepy hormone. Melatonin is one of the hormones responsible for inducing feelings of sleepiness and helping us fall asleep faster. Melatonin has gained popularity in over-the-counter treatments to address sleep disorders. However, I want to strongly caution against resorting to melatonin right away, especially for young adults and children. So who should take melatonin and who should avoid it? The only case where melatonin is a beneficial treatment is if you're somebody who engages in shift work. This is because your circadian rhythm and production of melatonin will be negatively impacted by your work schedule. We need melatonin. Melatonin is a powerful anti-cancer and antioxidant that serves an important purpose in the body. Another case where melatonin might be beneficial is when you're traveling long distances to prevent from jet lag. Jet lag is a term that describes a number of symptoms which are related to your circadian rhythm being out of balance with the new circadian rhythm of the new environment. Because circadian rhythm regulates our hormones, emotions, and many of our organs, it is possible to feel a bit under the weather when we travel. Melatonin has the ability to prevent jet lag because it's going to help your body to match the circadian rhythm of the new environment. Now we need to understand who should not take melatonin. Anyone else who has a sleep disorder and does not engage in shift work should not be taking melatonin supplementally. This is because melatonin is a hormone, and taking it supplementally can really affect the way that the body produces melatonin on its own. Not only just melatonin, but it can also affect the way that the body produces serotonin. Now, this can have devastating repercussions for overall mood and happiness. This doesn't mean that if you have a sleep disorder, you should just suffer. There are many other beneficial natural alternatives that you can take which will be just as effective as melatonin. The first thing I recommend is trying to develop a healthy sleep hygiene routine. This means reducing screen time before bed, winding down, and only using the bed for sleeping, not for doing work, eating, or watching TV. Taking a warm Epsom salt bath can also be a really great way to calm down the nervous system and prepare you for a restful sleep. Once you have gotten that under control, you can start to experiment with some natural sleep aids. One of my favorites is called Pascoe Flair from Pascoe. Pascoe Flair is a natural supplement that is made up of a concentration of the herb passionflower. Passionflower is an extremely safe herb that has a calming effect on the nervous system and can be used to treat various hyperactive conditions, including anxiety and insomnia. Passionflower is known to increase levels of GABA, which is the neurotransmitter in the brain that tells the nervous system to relax. The next supplement I recommend is called Easy Night. Easy Night is a combination of multiple herbs and nutrients that are really important for promoting states of sleepiness, all together, all in one capsule. It contains sedative herbs like Damiana, valerian, and lemon balm in combination with L-theanine and 5-HTP. L-theanine is a nutrient that increases the alpha brain waves, which are present in stages 1 and 2 of sleep, and 5-HTP is the precursor to serotonin, and therefore will also increase levels of melatonin without actually having to take melatonin supplementally. The third and final supplement I recommend is magnesium. Magnesium is a very effective treatment which has a calming effect on the nervous system and the entire body. Magnesium is known as the stress mineral because it is used up so quickly in times of stress. If insomnia is related to daily anxiety or high cortisol, magnesium is a great intervention not just to take before bed, but also to take throughout the day to help the body combat stress more effectively. All of these supplements can be taken about 20 to 30 minutes before bedtime. Now that you know all there is to know about sleep and sleep disorders, you can start to apply these treatments to your life and finally get a good night's sleep. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys have any questions, please link them up in the comments below. And we'll see you again next week on another episode of NHealth TV.